Evan Johnson was enjoying a peaceful moment with my coffee early in the morning. It was quiet, but I didn't know a big problem was coming. My wife, Audrey, and I have been married for 25 years. Our home used to be full of our children's laughter, but now it's quiet without them. Then something shocking happened that made the quiet even worse. I found out that Audrey was having a secret relationship with a man named Stallion. Their passionate sounds and the noise of a bed broke into my peaceful time. I saw something that completely changed my life. I had proof and a gun, and I planned to get revenge for the betrayal. Instead of being at work, I surprisingly felt calm. I was sitting at the kitchen table, calmly drinking fresh coffee. This moment of peace was exactly what I needed to feel calm inside. I used to do this often when our children were little. I'd wake up early to enjoy the quiet before everyone else woke up. It became a passion for me. I've been happily married for 25 years, or at least I was until a few hours ago. We have 4 children, and our youngest left home just last year. My wife has been feeling the empty nest syndrome, she calls it. I suggested she find a hobby to help her cope, and she started doing something about an hour ago. But I didn't know she called him Stallion. She used that name all the time. "Go for it, dude. Please give it to me," she shouted. It's strange that the smell of our favorite coffee hasn't caught her attention away from her new interest. Normally, when I make coffee, Audrey, my wife, would rush downstairs even before it was ready. But she's been busy lately, so maybe that's why she hasn't noticed the tempting smell yet. "Oh my God, you're so much better," she passionately expressed. As I sit here, I see my old Smith & Wesson Model 59 on the red oak kitchen counter, loaded and ready. I think about whether to engage the safety, deciding it's safer to be cautious, especially since her boyfriend is a police officer. How did I find out? I came home earlier than expected and found his uniform and other things scattered across the living room floor, along with my wife's clothes, including her black lace Victoria's Secret panties she bought 2 months ago and showed to me. I was excited and encouraged her to try them on, but she refused, saying they were for special occasions. She never wore them, which disappointed me because I thought our 25th wedding anniversary would be the perfect occasion. What could be more special than that? Maybe my birthday, which was just 2 days ago. Lately, I can barely concentrate on my work because of the constant sounds of the bed springs and headboard thumping against the wall. Not sure how much time I had, I listened to the noises coming from what used to be my bedroom, a place I promised never to go into again. It was clear they had done this before. I could hear my wife saying, "We need to spend more time together, maybe 2 or 3 times a week instead of just once in a while." How did I end up in this terrible situation? It was a silly mistake. I had gone to work and forgot my briefcase. Actually, I left it in the garage when I went to rescue our cat Tabby from under the car hood. I completely forgot about the briefcase after that. Tabby was our second cat. Years ago, I forgot to check under the hood before starting the car on a cold winter morning, and sadly, that's how we lost our first cat, Clarence. The memory of a cat caught in a fan belt, spinning rapidly at 1,000 revolutions per minute, with fur flying everywhere, still troubles me. Clarence and I weren't smart enough. The briefcase wasn't important, so I planned to leave it. But I had to meet a client who drove me straight home. When I turned onto my street, my heart sank, seeing a black and white police car parked there. It felt like something terrible had happened to my loving wife. It was like a knife through my heart. I rushed inside, almost forgetting to lock the car door, and saw my wife's new silver Lexus LS in the driveway, but her plaster garden gnome didn't fare as well. Now I'm here, sitting and sipping my coffee, thinking about everything that led to this moment. It was a terribly unpleasant experience, one I'd never gone through before. Instead of coffee, I felt like having whiskey, but I chose to keep a clear head. Hearing their passionate cries was disturbing, and seeing them together was worse. But I had to witness it to gather video and audio proof. What hurt the most wasn't them being intimate on our bed. It was my wife humiliating me with comparisons and hurtful words. It was painful to hear her say her lover was better than me in every way. If she wanted someone better, she shouldn't have married me. Finding out she cheated on me with him in our bed was shocking. Yes, they were intimate on my side of the bed. At 50, my wife passionately rode him, expressing her pleasure openly. Part of me couldn't believe what I saw, even though the evidence was clear. She chose a lover barely 30, in great shape, unlike me. I may not be very manly, but why did he have to go for someone else's wife? I couldn't understand his choice. The ordeal felt endless, but after about 90 minutes, the house fell silent. They must have stopped for a break. My wife asked her lover if there was any coffee, but he didn't say anything. All I could hear was Audrey saying, "Oh my God." Then I heard them opening and closing closets, digging through dresser drawers, and moving laundry baskets around in a rush. They seemed to be getting rid of any signs of their meeting. Soon they came downstairs, both naked and wrapped in sheets, and entered the kitchen. That's when they saw me. Audrey gasped loudly when she saw me, and her lover did the same. I wasn't sure if he was shocked to see me, or because I had a Smith & Wesson Model 59 in my hand. He looked towards where his police uniform was, suddenly worried. But then he realized it wasn't there. "Stallion, your service weapon, your boss took it when he left. He was kind," I said calmly. I saw his face change, and he sank to his knees, the sheet slipping from his hands. He searched through the scattered items on the floor, looking for something specific. He took that, too. I think he called it your throwing weapon, and he was upset because the serial number had been removed. It was a big loss for the former officer, maybe costing him 5 to 7 years. Stud Johnson looked disappointed when he heard this. As I said before, he was a caring person. While you were upstairs, he and I had a nice talk. Stud quickly looked out the window at the street. Yes, your boss also took a patrol car. He said you were responsible for safety at a construction site. He thought about taking your uniform too, but he decided you might need it later. Where was I? Sergeant Marks got video of both of you and took your weapons. He saw my Smith & Wesson and asked, "Is this yours?" I confirmed that it was licensed. He asked if I knew how to use it, and I said yes again. He then warned me not to use it on anyone, even though it might seem justified. Law enforcement officers can use force, but civilians cannot. I assured him that unless someone had a third gun we didn't know about, no one would be shot. Your boss nodded in agreement and headed towards the door, saying, "Tell Officer Johnson not to come to the station. We'll contact him when needed." I asked if he had a third gun, but he shook his head no. I wasn't really expecting an answer. I was making a point. I wasn't seriously thinking about aiming at anyone. I gestured towards them as I spoke. "You could call your wife to come get you," I suggested, but I expected he wouldn't. As expected, he said his wife was upset about a video I had emailed her showing him and Audrey in my bedroom. She was upset about her father, the police chief, and how it would affect their kids. They seemed like a respectable family, which made their situation even sadder. Despite the seriousness of the situation, I found it somewhat entertaining, like catching a fish and playing with it before letting it go. I thought about asking my wife for a ride, but the police had taken her car because they found cannabis in it. Audrey was shocked at first, but then she sadly accepted that her car was impounded. As the officer left after putting on his uniform, my wife started talking again, pleading with me and saying she loved me. I reassured her and understood the misunderstanding that caused my earlier anger. Her declaration of love eased any remaining doubts. Her demeanor, previously shocked, now showed nervous attention, listening closely to everything I said. "I'm deeply sorry," I began, "but when I thought your love for me had gone, I decided to show the video to our children. I wanted them to meet their future stepfather, but it seems they reacted badly to it. I thought they would be happy for you. This shows how far I went." "Oh, no, you didn't," she said in surprise. I just nodded in reply. "There's one more thing I didn't mention, though you might already know. Your lover's spouse works at the same company as you. I think she said she's the CEO's executive assistant. Don't worry about your job. I told her not to fire you, even if they move you to Little Rock. When I talked to the lawyer, she said because you earn more money, you'll have to pay child support for several years. She said it might be around $3,000 a month. I know some husbands who've been betrayed don't want to pay, to seem tough, but I won't do that. Instead, I'm taking time off work for a long fishing trip to deal with my sadness. Like they say, deep sea señorita, fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. I have to admit, I'm not sure why the lawyer asked for your photo. She said it was for her father's sake. Maybe it was to show to the authorities in case they wanted to bother you. Or maybe it was to see if anyone still wanted to date you. Anyway, I gave her a photo that shows your skills in a certain area. I also sent a copy of the video to your parents and colleagues. How could you treat me so heartlessly, Evan? Oh dear, I wasn't trying to be mean. I just wanted everyone to know about your new partner. All your friends on Facebook seemed happy for you. Audrey didn't react much. She just sat on the floor in her sheet, crying, shaking her head, and saying, "This can't be happening to me." Okay, dear, it's time for you to get dressed and pack your things. Your parents will be here soon to pick you up. I'll be happy if you come with me, but you need to find a place to stay for tonight. They said they can offer you somewhere temporary to stay. Unfortunately, because of the divorce, the house will have to be sold. I brought this up after her divorce was finalized. It seems you have some questions, dear. I have to say this is a surprise to me. What do you think should happen now that I know? I never thought you would get caught. Should we keep talking about this with no end? There was silence upstairs for a few minutes. She didn't say much, just cried quietly now and then. Why do cheaters always cry when they get caught? This is a really bad situation. If getting caught is so terrible, then please don't cheat in the first place. About 10 minutes later, she came down the stairs, dressed, but without a suitcase. Evan, we really need to go, dear, she said. Right then, I heard her parents' car pull up outside our house. Audrey, goodbye, I said, opening the door to let her out. Second story. How do I cut contact? I found out a few days ago that my boyfriend, who I've been with for almost 4 years, was cheating on me online. This happened during a time when I was studying all day for exams and tests. Even then, I made time for us to hang out, take baths together, and plan our future like renovating our room. He was very loving and caring during this time. I think he did it because he doesn't love himself enough. The girl flirting with him made him feel more confident, and I became less important to him. He realized later that he made a big mistake, just when I had finally overcome my insecurities about him cheating. I had started to believe he would never do something like this. I feel so conflicted now. I keep expecting a message from him or something, even though I know I need to cut contact to move on. But I'm scared to do it because we grew up together. We had great chemistry, lots in common, and loved spending time together. He accepted all my quirks, and I did the same for him. How can I end it without feeling like I'm losing a huge part of my life? I worry I'll never find someone else who shares my interests and jokes like he did. I still care about him and want him to learn and grow, which makes me feel guilty. I keep switching between hating him and caring about him. I know he hasn't really learned. He's suggesting I become controlling and interrogative if we get back together, which I don't want. He's focused on what's best for him, not us. Maybe he thinks this won't hurt our relationship much because I forgave him before. How can I do this?